is fast asleep.
It certainly is.
AT&T, it's all within your reach.
On the 13th day, in the 13th hour, in the 13th minute, everything that could go wrong did, and America prayed for a miracle.
Houston, we have a problem.
With the Jeep Grand Cherokee, you have your choice of powerful engines to choose from, a choice of 3 different front-wheel drive systems, and your choice of remarkable places to park.
Courage. Power. Virtuosity. Starring Denzel Washington.
Man's where it travels.
A series of homegrown powerhouse performances by one of today's finest actors. See them Saturday, November 2nd, starting at 4:30. Starring Denzel Washington. Only in America. Only on Cinemax.
Nice guy with the warm smile, Grant Hill, right? Yep, NCAA champion, NBA co-rookie of the year, and now the leading vote getter in the 96 All-Star game. You don't want to mess with Grant or step on his new Grant Hill 2s from Fila. O.J. Simpson's talking once again to our own Ed Gordon. A BET News special. Tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. O.J. Simpson and Ed Gordon go one-on-one right here on BET. What a great improvement. Today's Ultra Pamper Plus with the Air Dry system, because healthy skin begins with dry skin.
'93 WKYS, Washington, D.C. 8 o'clock, this is Paul Porter in for Candy Shannon till 10 tonight. Good stuff happening like always on KISS. The best music and concert tickets this hour on the way. Rick James, SOS Band, Slave, Mary Jane Girls, you name it, we got it. Coming this hour on KISS.
Be healthy, be there.
No admission necessary to enter contest. Entry blanks are available outside the gate. You must be 18 years or older. Contest ends November 20th. 93 KYS, job alert for you. An accountant is needed in Northwest D.C. Pays $19,000 per year. Call 724-3785 for details. It's Patti LaBelle closing out tonight's dinner hour. The LP, I'm waiting for it. I'm in love again. And if only you knew. On KYS. 93 KYS, Toe Tap and Gap Band from the 5 Jammin' LP. Of course, Party Train. D-Train before that, that's my kind of music, my type of funky groove there. Something's on your mind. And Chaka Khan, So Not to Worry, Don't Go to Strangers. And we kicked off with Patti LaBelle, If Only You Knew. In between all that good stuff, we had a winner too. Congratulations goes out to Terry Wood of Upper Marlboro. She and a guest will be joining us Sunday night, 8 o'clock at Constitution Hall to see Chaka Khan and Kashif. Boy, that's going to be some show. I saw Kashif over the summer. I saw Chaka last year. I saw Kashif over the summer. He was at Carter Barron. Good shows, both of them. Can't wait. More chances to win coming soon, too, on KISS.
Who makes dinners the way you like?
Takes a minute to fall in love, huh? Right. Damn it, 99.5, the Capitan Paul Porter. How you doing, Hump Day Wednesday? We got it for you, the world's easiest contest. All you have to do is dial our money line to enter 1-877-701-MONEY. Tell us when you listen. We'll call out your name on the radio. $1,000 cold cash for you. If not, email us, jammin'995@AOL.com. All you have to do is give us your name, city, birthday, phone number, and 2 hours when you listen. Crank it up. Jazz band now. I love it. Stevie Wonderful. On You're jamming 99.5. Stevie Wonder there, and if you really love me. That's the Captain Paul Porter, 644 on your Hump Day Wednesday. We got it coming up for you. Super sweet, but back-to-back jamming oldies. All your requests, too. Matter of fact, if you got some, give them up. 1-877-JAMN 99.5. Got some more money to give away in a couple of minutes, and James Brown tickets, too. Remember the phrase that pays, all right?
99.5 is my new favorite station.
Oh, very good. And now here's some traffic info.
Now, Jammin' Traffic.
Checking your ride. It's time for the world's easiest contest on the new Jammin' 99.5.
All right, we're looking for Deborah Whitted of Capitol Heights, Maryland. You got 30 minutes to call us on the Touch-Tone Payoff line. Get down now, Deborah. 1-877-99.5 pays. Give me the phrase that pays, and $1,000 is yours. Deborah Whitted of Capitol Heights, Maryland. Good luck and get dialing.
Jammin' 99.5 Washington.
Yeah, sing that song. DC's Jammin' Oldies, Jammin' 99.5. All requests feel good party weekend. James Brown's going to be in the house at Nations in D.C. for our first birthday party on the 7th. Your chance to score some free tickets all the way. Keep it locked right here. Lionel Commodore's on Jammin' 99.5. Give me the love, give me the kisses. It's the new Jammin' 99.5 with tickets to our first big birthday bash with the Godfather of Soul, James Brown in concert. Call number 9, 1-877-JAMN 99.5. Call number 9, you're in with the phrase that pays. Jammin' 99 is my new favorite station.
The controversy surrounding Rihanna's new album, Rated R, in stores November 23rd. Russian Roulette is the racy new single stirring the pot due to dark lyrics some say promote suicide.
Take the gun and count to 3. Know that I must pass this test, so just pull the trigger.
I sat down with Paul Porter, co-founder of the nonprofit IndustryEars.com, a think tank dedicated to promoting justice in media. He wants record companies and radio stations to be more accountable for the material they release.
It's kind of surprising listening to her speak about this subject.
I just think the people greenlighting these things have to do a better job.
Suicide is a problem, though, out there.
We wouldn't have this discussion if Rihanna wasn't so big. She's just a bigger star, so that's why we're having this conversation.
And the spotlight on Rihanna is even more intense since she was physically assaulted by ex-boyfriend Chris Brown back in February. Rallying to Rihanna's side, artist Neo, who wrote and produced the disputed song, he said, quote, "Nobody's really going out to play Russian roulette or thinking about killing themselves or nothing like that. It was just an interesting topic over a crazy beat."
For all the media condemnation of Imos's denigration of the Rutgers women as hoes, what about those who routinely use that word and others far worse, including the N-word, rap artists and hip-hop singers? Why do they get to make millions of dollars with lyrics about sexually abusing, degrading, and even murdering women? Lyrics like these.
One touch sunroof, leave it alone. Ho, see you can't believe it's going back on the song. She want that bubble gum. Is they a double mint? Two shooting me, so I know that I'ma win.
Joining us now to talk about this, Eric Deggans, media critic for the St. Petersburg Times. And from Orlando, Paul Porter from IndustryEars.com. Eric Deggans, you're a former music critic. In your younger days, you even cut a Motown record. Now, what we just played there is obviously the milder version that we can actually play on the airwaves. Sure. Why does the mainstream media give these artists and these record companies that provide the contracts a pass on this question?
Well, I think you'd have to go to your bosses at CNN and ask them that. What I can tell you is that people have been protesting, black people have been protesting lyrics in hip-hop for years, from 1993. The tip drill video that you showed part of, women at a black college in Atlanta got together and protested when Nelly was going to come to the area because they objected to the language.
But protesting with the same kind of intensity that we've seen over the last week in the Imus protest? The
reason the intensity is more is because CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and the Today Show and Good Morning America, everybody covered it. Why these programs didn't cover those protests before, I don't know. I've written about it. Lots of African American columnists have written about this issue.
Paul Porter, you had worked at the sister station of Hot 97 in New York, which plays a lot of rap music, and you complained about some of these songs, including one that began, "Beat that bitch with a bat." What was the response to your complaint?
I mean, it's always negative. Look, the only thing, and just along the same thing that happened to Imus, they made a business decision, not a moral decision. It's about ratings and revenue. Those two things, and no other standards happen right now with the consolidation and corporations now. The only thing that's important is making money. And for example, Viacom, the parent company of CBS, they own MTV and BET. Thousands of things, how it happened, 10 times worse than what Imus said on a daily basis. And they're not going to change BET or MTV.
So how do you explain that discrepancy? They booed Imus off the airwaves, but they're allowing this to go on these other company properties. Right.
It was a business decision. American Express pulled out. If none of the advertisers pulled out, it'd be business as usual, full speed ahead. And that's what's happening. Folks, just like Eric said, we've been complaining. I worked at BET for 10 years. And folks have complained about it. And they just, when it's black on black crime, it's not newsworthy.
Interesting racial divide here. A new CNN poll, if we can put that up on the screen, were Imus's remarks about the Rutgers women offensive? Whites, 55% said yes. Blacks, 68% said yes, although more whites put it in the second category of inappropriate. Eric Deggans, it does seem, though, that there's sort of a double standard. You know, some black artists can talk about bitches and hoes, but if a white broadcaster says it, he's run out of town.
Well, one other thing I'd say is that there are some very unique sort of third rails in American society, and one of them is white power dominating black powerlessness. This is something that we chew over in all sorts of venues. We're trying to come to terms with hundreds of years of sort of oppression, and so I think these issues take on a new resonance.
So there's an extra sting, when a white person is denigrating a whole class of black women as hoes, it's not the same, in your view, as when it comes from somebody in the black entertainment community.
I think it impacts society differently, and I think we react differently, and I think everybody cares differently. And I think it's obvious when you see the reaction to the Imus situation versus seeing the way in which the same civil rights leaders, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and NABJ, we've tried to call people's attention to concerns about hip-hop, and we don't get the same response from the mainstream media or from mainstream society.
NABJ, of course, the National Association of Black Journalists. Paul Porter, tonight on Black Entertainment Television, I happened to notice this online, there is a special called Black is Beautiful, the N-Word. And ask the question, has our, meaning the black community's repeated use of the N-word in our music, movies, and conversations given white people a pass to do the same thing? What do you think?
No, I don't think black folks have a pass to do the same thing. I just think the images and the things that we see are dictated by folks that don't look like us. And it happens time and time again that we're confused by what we see on television and think that stands for the real values of Americans, black and white, and that's not the case.
I would say, I think in the black community there's an ongoing debate, and it's taken a while to break down the denial of the impact of the N-word. I personally don't agree on banning any word separate from its context, but I do think there's a growing sentiment in the black community that this word should not be used. We've seen publications like Ebony and Jet ban the use of the N-word in its pages, and I think more and more black people are realizing they can condemn the language and not condemn the art of hip-hop.
Do you think that this whole Imus controversy will move us forward even an inch toward cleaning up the culture?
I think it will move us forward an inch. What's disturbing me is that we're not talking about some of the deeper issues, and we're not talking about them in a way that we're hearing each other. Black people and white people are expressing their frustrations, but we're not really learning from each other and finding a way to sort of move forward together.
But what about the audience, Paul Porter? You know, Imus had millions of listeners and viewers on MSNBC, a lesser amount certainly on cable television. Some of these other, I see, you know, HBO comedy specials that use really raw and raunchy stuff people watch. So does the audience bear some responsibility here?
Howard, crack sells. Does that make it good?
Exactly.
No. But what you see is what you get. On Friday, one of the biggest things that happened in radio is the FCC settled on payola on a national level with the 4 largest broadcasters that own over 2,000 stations, allowing pay for play. They settled for $12.5 million. Never got covered.
back in the day,
Got covered a little bit. Can
I break in real quick and say one thing, which is that stereotypes are very seductive. We would not indulge them if they weren't. They're often funny, they're often entertaining. That doesn't make them right.
I've got 15 seconds. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, Primetime, Larry Anderson, Paula, Keith, O'Reilly, Chris, not a single African-American host. What does that say?
What it says is that these channels need to get right with diversity. They need to make it a priority. They need to develop new talent. They need to promote more people, and we'll have less problems.
And we need to wrap. Paul Porter, Eric Deggans, thanks for joining us. Up next, what are the boundaries of political comedy on the air, and are they different if you're black and white? Stephanie Miller and Roland Martin after the break.
This word. This is a word that has meaning when you give it meaning. I've never met. I have never gone to. I don't know any. There are about. You can try it, just like you can talk about. No, listen to me. Listen to me. Just like you can talk about comical Italian people.
That was co-host Whoopi Goldberg last Thursday on The View, trying to make a point about the N-word by actually using it, and she was bleeped by the producers. But today it seems that her tone and the use of that word, well, changed a little bit. Take a look.
We, again, became a hot topic over the weekend over our discussion of the N-word on Thursday's show. Everybody and their mama had an opinion on it. There's an entire list. When I got this gig, ABC gave me a long list of stuff that you're not allowed to say. I will mark, though, that that word is not on that list, and I'm not even going to say, you know what word I'm talking about.
Joining us now is the co-founder of IndustryEars.com, Paul Porter, and attorney Sophia Nelson. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. First of all, I like Whoopi Goldberg. I don't have a problem. It was a good discussion, but I agreed with Elizabeth. Elizabeth was making the case, if the word is wrong, it's wrong for our kids. It's wrong in all circumstances. And other hosts on the show are saying, no, it's okay if one community uses it, not another. And Elizabeth saying, no. Our children ought to be the standard. Where do you stand on it?
Elizabeth is correct. I think Whoopi Goldberg was being Whoopi. She was being sensational. But there is a view in the black community, Sean, that it's appropriate to say it as a term of endearment, if you will, when you're with your boys or your girls. I disagree with that. I think that if we don't want others to use the word, it has such an ugly historical connotation that we shouldn't use it ourselves.
See, I agree with you on that, Paul Porter. But I don't have a problem if Whoopi Goldberg is trying to make a point here, and I think she was, and she feels passionately about it, and I know her personally. There was no ill intention on her part. I could assure you of that. But I think that Elizabeth's point, though, is right on. If we don't want our kids to say it, and it's wrong, then it's wrong for everybody. You agree with that?
Yeah, it's wrong, but you got to think about, Sean, last time I was here, we were talking about the B word, and this time, corporate America sort of greenlights the N-word, I like to say N-I-G, all the time. And you see it in music videos, you see it in hip-hop music all the time. And we have this discussion, and we seem to miss out on the folks that greenlighted at record companies, at BET, at MTV. And that's the real big problem. The younger generation hears it and sees it all the time.
Well, that's the point. I mean, and that was Elizabeth's point. How do I explain it to my children that it's acceptable for some kids to use it, for some people to use it, but not for other people? I just think we ought to determine, and I'll throw this to you, that the word is wrong, the word is inappropriate. It's one of those words that you don't use, period. And that's it. It's over.
I agree with you. I mean, and I think that it's very important, again, as the African American community right now is bursting with pride about, the first African American to be presumptive nominee of a party. We're looking at moving forward. We're trying to heal the nation, bring us closer, stop the divisions. The N-word is not the thing that we want to be throwing around.
Isn't it true, and welcome, Paul, isn't it true that subcultures do this? I mean, for example, Jeff Foxworthy, the comedian, did a whole series of redneck jokes. He can use the word redneck. If I call someone a redneck, it's not going to go over so well as an urban guy from New York. gays very often will use words among themselves that people who are not gay do not use. This is what happens among subcultures.
But Alan,
isn't that the way it is?
But Alan, the N-word historically has a very different connotation, as you know. I mean,
so do some of the horrible words they use about gay.
Nothing that goes back in this country dates back to 1619 and slavery. Not that. Sorry, it's not the same.
Every word is different. You're right about that.
The N-word has a historical, ugly context of racism, of bigotry, of Jim Crow, of lynchings, of hangings.
Let me get Paul here. The broader issue being that subcultures talk in a certain way that those who are not a member of that particular culture do not talk.
Yeah, but is it acceptable?
Absolutely right. But Alan, you're right, because what younger kids, black and white, see all the time and hear in music today is the milder version of the N-word. They don't even know the hate side of it, and that's the problem. But this conversation sometimes we only have people of color talking about it. You need to have maybe Leor Cohen from Warner Brothers or Jimmy Iovine from Interscope.
What should they do? What should Jimmy Iovine do? What do you want them to do about it?
Well, I mean, it's, we always think that African-American people control the word, but there's people that profit and make a lot of money off of this word through business, and those are some of the people you have to ask the same question to.
So, I mean, obviously, you don't want to promote it by a big conglomerate where kids here, but I'm talking about people talking among themselves. That's what Whoopi was talking about, Sophia. That's what Cherry Shepherd was talking about, that, in private, people talk among themselves that way. That's just the way it is. I don't think people are going to change it.
Right, but remember the context. What Elizabeth was talking about was Jesse Jackson's comment about Obama and what he wanted to do to him and the use of the N-word. And what she was saying is, look, this is a reverend. One, it's not appropriate for him to even talk like this. And two, why are we throwing this word around in the pop culture in such a way? And I think she was rightly offended by it, as am I and others. So I agree that it's used privately, but it shouldn't be.
All right, guys. Thank you.
If it's private, it's private.
All right,
if it's private, it's private.
Thank you both very much, Paul, Sophia. Thanks for being with us. Coming up.
We'll tell you about that story, but first, a radio DJ for Kiss FM in New York City says that he was kicked off the air after complaining about violent lyrics. Paul Porter objected to a song by the rap artist Rod Digger, which the title of which we can't even repeat here on the air, and it contained the lyrics, "Beat that B word with a bat." Kiss FM did not return our calls asking for a comment. Joining us now, former Kiss FM announcer Paul Porter. Paul, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Good, fine. How are you, Sean?
I appreciate you being here. I read the whole story. I appreciate you taking a stand on principle here, because I believe this music is so offensive sometimes. It's degrading our women. It's degrading our kids. It sends a violent message. It's hurting them, and nobody has the courage to speak out. There's too much money at stake. Why did you do it?
I did it because I was feeling like a hypocrite. I worked at a lot of the big media outlets. You name the big companies. I've been there, program BET. And it's just gotten ridiculous over the years, the images. And the problem, I don't blame the rappers. I blame some of the companies, all of the companies that are making the big dollars off of this. These kids are not making any money. I'm not trying to stop freedom of speech. I'm just trying to get balance. That's all I'm looking for, some balance.
Your story is interesting, Paul, because one of the things you said, it's all gangster or nothing. You went to your program director, you went to your general manager, you got no response, and then you wrote the COO of your company an email. Tell us, pick up the story from there.
Yeah, I had a problem with a student out in Queens. The song you mentioned had got beat up. The mother had got beat up by the father. So I decided to take it upon myself and see what sort of change, because the average person listening to a radio station, if they have a complaint, they call into a station. I figured since I worked there, I could get something across, but it didn't work out that way. I never got a return phone calls or emails from anybody at the station, but the owner of the company, the COO, answered back in 15 minutes, and next day, things changed right away in Emmis.
All right, but now here's the problem. You, Paul, were punished for doing that. You were taken off your shift, basically pushed out the door.
Well, nobody will admit that. You know what? They'll admit that I wasn't on the schedule.
Why didn't you go back to the COO who gave you the initial support and say, hey, I'm not working here?
I did. No doubt about it. I went back, and he was like, well, take it up with your boss. We wouldn't do a thing like that, because it made me feel like I was a whistleblower. And at the same time, this happened over a year ago. I thought I was helping out, and I thought the station would try to put some safeguards in place. to prevent that from happening, but it's only gotten worse.
Hey, Paul,
and it's not just there, it's all over the country.
It's Alan, good to have you on the show. Apparently, the general manager actually said, what do you have to choose between helping kids or working in this business?
Not exactly, but it was definitely a statement about making a decision about being in this business. And that's what happens. I can be froze out the business easy. There's a lot of big companies that I have problems with, and it's big business now, communications.
This station also is the one that did the tsunami song that we talked about. They also, I want to show some video here, did a thing called Smackdown.
Smackfest,
Smackfest, which is
Smacking
amazing to me. They have two listeners smack each other with the object of seeing who could hurt whom the most and cause physical injury. We're showing the video of that right now.
But Alan, that's all over the country. That's happening at the Beat in Miami. Several stations across the country. This don't center around Emmis. There's a problem, and folks are going to have to deal with it. And you can go to the website too, industryears.com, and try to find out some things.
I'm amazed to see that any radio station would do a contest like this, as if this is somehow entertaining or gratifying in any way, or makes any kind of advances anything. Why? I don't understand the purpose of that.
The purpose is to promote violence. If you go onto the website and see some of these things across the country, and that's all it's doing is promoting violence. And to tell you the truth, the only way I think this is going to change if folks take action, and please take action. Go to the website, industryears.com.
What's happening to you now? I mean, other people coming up with offers? Is the notoriety, is there any positive aspect to this for you?
No, I'm broke, but the positive aspect is that I'm getting the message out, and hopefully, folks, I know you guys are numero uno at this time, will come on board and sort of support the cause, because all these companies, and they have good stations, don't get me wrong. The station I work for was a great station, Kiss FM.
Right.
Emmis has great stations. Clear Channel has great stations. I have problems with some of the Emmis, Clear Channel. I have problems with Image Entertainment, a film company. I have, there's different strokes for different folks, but if everybody gets active, because the children are listening and the parents are not.
Paul, you got a great radio voice, and you're standing up for great principles. We really wish you the best in this business. And maybe, what do you think about, you can referee Hannity and Combs Smackfest. I get to go first.
All right.
Yeah, I get to finish.
I'm just teasing. It's a great stand you take, and we wish you the best, and all the best to you. Thank you.
The second hour Video Soul. I'm Paul Porter, and my guests today are an act that was signed by Keith Sweat's new record label, Key. As a matter of fact, the very first act, their album, Lose Control, has went gold. They are here ready to rock and roll on Video Soul. Ladies and gentlemen, Silk. Yeah, come on, let me hear it, man. Let me hear it, my fella. I thought y'all were going to kick the a cappella harmony for me. Let's get started like that. I'm going to test you right now.
No problem. Because the great love love of all, yeah, the greatest love of all. But you know what? There's no greater love than the love from the Lord. We will cherish it forevermore. It's the greatest.
Now that's the introduction. Let's get the names of the folks in the group. Let's start from here.
How you doing? I'm Big G.
Yo, what up? I'm Timzo.
How you doing? I'm John John.
Yo, what up? I'm Jimmy.
What's up? I'm Gary. They call me Little G.
Yo.
Little G, Big G, everybody here in the house. Yeah. Y'all guys have blown up. Happy Days, man, is all that and more. How did you and Keith first get hooked up?
We met Keith a year and a half ago at a barbecue. We were singing in the basement to some kids, and he was upstairs eating on some chicken, and he wandered down while we were singing, and he listened attentively. He liked what he heard, but he didn't let us know at the time. He was on tour, so a couple days later he called us back to let us know that he wanted to work with us.
And bang.
Yeah. And
how long you guys been together, man? Y'all really got it. I mean, the whole album and Freak Me, we'll talk about that in a second, but I mean, how long have you guys been together?
Collectively 4 years.
4 years. And church played a big part?
Yeah, everybody had church background. We weren't together, you know, coming up, but Lil G did some directing in church. I did some directing in church. Other guys sang in church, and we still have strong roots there. That's what our home away from home. That's what we do when we're away from the cameras. We walk around singing gospels, and we follow people. We do. We got to do this as well.
What's been the biggest surprise being out there?
Biggest surprise.
The biggest surprise I feel is the response that we're getting. It makes us feel real good to know that we are actually reaching the hearts and the souls of people through our music. And I think that's the important thing for people in the industry to be able to do, and to be able to understand that the people is the thing that make you. So if you reach them and if you get them with you, then
y'all are reaching a lot of hearts and soul on this Freak Me now. Tell me, that song is driving folks crazy.
Here we go.
Did y'all put your own lyrics in there? There's some of that sounds too personal.
Keith thing.
Daddy Sweat.
Nothing but a Keith thing, baby.
Oh man.
That was a tune he came up with. Actually, it almost didn't make the album.
Yeah.
Seriously,
the last tune on.
We had another song that was going to be the last song on the album, and there was a vocoder on there. And Keith was doing production. He could never get the vocoder the way he wanted it. So he rushed in the studio to find another song, and he was working with some producers from TH Productions. What's up, I Rock and Righteous?
Hey.
They went in, and he heard the track, and he put his lyrics on it. He did his thing. He brought in a rapper, and
Chino West.
I know you guys are going to be delivering a new video to us any day. Is it steamy and spicy like the song is? You leaving it in a mystery, huh? Does that help your love lives?
Love lives. Hey, we spent Valentine's Day alone, so
New York City.
It ain't helping too much.
In our hotel room, eating chocolate.
I really feel for you guys. I know it is really rough, and nobody wants to be with Silk.
It's rough out here, man. It's rough.
Yeah, it's rough.
They
it's
all
real.
want Keith, you know.
Oh, y'all just hanging around with the gold record. Okay. Well, matter of fact, we're going to kick the babies. First video, Happy Days, that made them blow up to be XXL. Here's Silk on Video Soul.